I know that you're a digital creator and content creator. But yeah, tell me what it is that you actually do and what your career entails.
Okay, career. So I feel like this might resonate with some people because my career isn't like built off qualifications, it's more lived experience. So, and it's not very shiny either to like get to where I needed to be. Like straight after high school, I moved to London for 2 years and just did nannying and daycare. And
Cool.
then when I moved home, I just did admin jobs. And then I did a little bit of modeling, which connected me with these girls that wanted to open up a shop.
Wow.
And at the time, I'd just enrolled in a fashion school that had gone under. So I had a little bit of savings there that I was going to spend on the course. And I was like, yeah, let's open a shop. Like I've always wanted to do like a clothing label.
So cool.
Um, and I just started off with underwear because I didn't know how to sew or pattern make or anything like that. And it's funny because I'll never really forget dusting off an old domestic sewing machine that my nan bought me when I told her I wanted to do fashion, which was so blessed. And I had
So
like 5 meters of merino wool fabric in my lap and some thread. And I
wow.
sat there looking at the domestic sewing machine and I typed into YouTube how to thread a domestic sewing machine. And we had paid for like the lease and like it was all happening. And I'm like, I
Oh
don't
my
even know how to
God.
thread this bitch. And I've just got, and I like dropped some
I
days at
love
work.
that.
So I'm still working like admin at the same time,
Yeah.
just as like a little
Smart.
cushion.
Mm.
Yeah. Except I quit that like super soon after. I was like, I've got this. And then yeah, so that shop lasted for like 4 years, which was
Wow,
really
that's
great.
pretty good. Yeah.
Through COVID and everything.
Wow.
But we all had our own individual businesses that we were selling at the shop, and that all became like a little too much to juggle. So we just went our separate ways and took everything that we'd learned and implemented it into our businesses, which was really nice. And then I fell pregnant. And as the universe would have it, my freelance sewer, who was doing about 50% of my sewing, because I was still sewing everything myself, and she
Wow.
was as well, wanted to move into more bridal. So she like couldn't work for me anymore.
Oh,
And
bummer.
then I thought it was a sign to move on to a manufacturer, but that was like a whole nother story within itself. And then, yeah, I just looked inward and I was like, am I enjoying this anymore? Like, what about the business do I really like doing? And it was the photo shoots and the content creation and the styling. And I started to feel better because I was really sick in the pregnancy, like so sick. And
The
I started to
worst.
feel better. So I was like, I'm gonna close the business and I'm just gonna let like the path like reveal itself. Like whatever's
Wow.
next, I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of the pregnancy and then go from there. And so, yeah, obviously, I had like a lot of spare time on my hands because I wasn't like working
Yeah.
anymore. So I just started posting more, as you
Yeah.
do. Started posting on TikTok, and it didn't like necessarily take off, and like it still hasn't. But I have
You're
noticed that
doing pretty well. Like you do really
thanks.
beautiful content. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like considering it was all around the time that I was like heavily pregnant and
Oh
then I
gosh.
had a newborn. And yeah, so I just started noticing like a bit of a community and a couple of videos did do well. And then brands started reaching out. So I started doing content creation. Yeah.
So cool. And I must have come across you. I will put my hands up. I know I've said this on the podcast before. And it's probably reflected in my guess. Like I'm a pretty heavy TikTok user. Um, not posting, just using.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I definitely came across you. I reckon it was probably around that time. And I loved your content because I knew I was entering this similar stage of life. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's amazing how things work out. That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
But I think what's really unique about your content and like what you do really well is you're very authentic and you are very curated in your styles. So I think maybe the people that follow you like are really interested in that. So yeah,
Yeah.
like how do you find sharing? Like, I find that really hard. I'll be completely honest. I find it really hard to share. How do you kind of manage that, and how do you be so open and like be able to so openly like articulate your interests and like what you like and everything like that?
Ah, that's so nice of you to say. Um, well, first of all, I don't know if anyone else is noticing apart from me, but I'm not consistent. I only ever post when I am in the mood, and I feel like that
Good.
is like beneficial, yeah, because everything like reads authentically. I'm never like forcing it, and then I'm always just going to show up sort of in the same mood, or maybe like I'll play on not being in the mood, and then that can be like a part of the content. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you want to be a content creator, you just have to put your authentic self out there. It's not sustainable to be someone else. It's not enjoyable to be someone else. And you've got to back yourself, because if you don't think that you're interesting enough or watchable, then how can you expect other people to be like thinking that about you? Um, and
So
yeah, I'm
true.
still like, it's so funny because I'm a couple years in and I'm still like waiting to find like my thing, like my, consistent video, or like the thing that I really enjoy doing. Like I'm still at my spaghetti throwing stage, which is funny to say because I feel like I should have it by now. Um, but yeah, it's just fun for me. Like I really enjoy it, and I love having those memories and having the outfits to look back on, or I just love the community that I've built and just chatting with everyone in the DMs and the comments. Like it's so nice. Like I can't believe that this is a job that I can make a living from. Like it's crazy.
And is it fair to say, like, you're saying you don't have many TikTok followers, but you actually do? Like, I feel like it's quite hard to grow an audience on TikTok these days. And
Right?
especially in Australia, I feel like,
Yeah.
it's, not as easy. And I think brands recognize that. And I've seen people with paid content who only have like 2,000 followers, or
Yeah.
even a
Yeah,
thousand.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, like walk us through like what is kind of the breakdown of what you do now? Like, do you do some, sponsorships, paid posts? I notice you help with like a lot of styling and photo shoots. So yeah, like walk
Yeah.
us through that.
So on the content creation side of things, I do a lot of like personal brand building, which are just videos that I make to build my community and attract the right people. And then 2025 is my year of just being paid for the work, not
Good.
just like, because I did do a pretty like even mix of gifting and paid work. Um, but yeah, just decided to really focus on only accepting paid collaborations, especially because I'm so busy, and I'm about to have another baby. So, yeah, so I think I need to refine my roles in 2025. But at the moment, I do content creation, social media management. I do some styling and creative direction for some fashion shoots, and then like a little bit of
Wow.
modeling if the right brand asks and it feels aligned. So I'm hoping, I just want to do like max two of those roles. And so I can really, yeah, like grow and nurture within those roles. Yeah.
That is a broad scope, but I mean, it all kind of
Yeah.
ties in together. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it all fills my cup. It's all things that I
exactly.
really enjoy doing. It's going to be hard to let go of some of them, but yeah, I just need to like, I just feel like it's, yeah, I can't thrive in all of them. I need
No, you
to
can't.
just
Yeah.
choose a couple and like give it a good shot. But that being said, like I'm, when we talk about like my following or like how busy I am, I'm really loving the steady incline that I'm on, because I am busy and I feel like my like work life balance is really good at the moment. Like I wouldn't want that sort of changed at the moment. And then when I'm ready, I will start like taking it more seriously, or start being more consistent, or whatever that looks like, to grow and to get busier. But for now, I'm like just having fun. It's kind of unserious, but serious at the same time because it's like obviously like what I do for money. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it really does feel like it's just an insight into your life and you're just enjoying yourself. But yeah, I feel like as well when you become a mum, that time becomes so crucial to you and like you you don't have much time, so you have to be very picky with and choosy with what you give it to. And obviously, yeah, it makes perfect sense that you would focus more heavily on like the monetized opportunities. Um Yeah, good for you. I mean, it's obviously like, yeah, paying off and all working out. And I think sometimes a steady incline when you're a mum is probably better than, being completely inundated and burning yourself out as well.
Yeah, totally. And when it does come to working with brands and if they don't have the budget for it, like that's totally fine. Like I feel like I just have to reinforce like saying no and letting things go and letting them come back later. Or if something doesn't align, like I just have to, yeah, I have to really lean into letting things go if it's, yeah, not aligned with me. Hi.
Bloody hell.
um but that's like really good self practice. It's been good because there have been some like temptations and there's been some negotiations to get right to the end and it just isn't right. And I feel like if I put out that energy to the universe, like I'm not going to accept less than what I feel like I'm worth, then eventually things will start lining up. And yeah.
Cool. Sorry. Yeah, that like, sorry, I'm starting again for the sentence. That is like such a good way of doing it. And I think, yeah, like obviously sometimes if things are meant to work out, they do. And if they're not, I feel like I've spoken about this before. If they're not, they often won't. Or yeah, the right people will find you.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
it's quite funny. I'm asking this question while my baby is literally right here. But how do you juggle all of the stuff you're doing and the digital content with motherhood? Because obviously you're about to become a mum of two. I now understand entirely that that is a hard juggle. Yeah, how do
Yeah.
you manage that?
Yeah, over time, I've really learned that everything actually always does just get done. Like I always think that it's not going to, and then it does. And then yeah, like I said, if something like doesn't feel aligned or my work ethic isn't aligned with someone that I'm trying to work with, it's okay to let it go. Like other things will come through. And then I'm very lucky because obviously with content creation, I get to stay home and choose my own hours. And so I can keep on top of
So
like the
good.
housework. And yeah, exactly. I don't feel like I have to pick and choose between like work and motherhood. I kind of get to incorporate them both together in a really fun way. So that just feels like, yeah, such a blessing. And yeah, I'm just lucky in that sense. But yeah, I just feel like you just have to constantly reassure yourself that like you don't need to be on someone else's timeline. Like the timeline that I'm on is exactly where I am supposed to be right now, and it'll all get done. Yeah, opportunities continue to happen, and yeah, there's no point burning yourself out, or you don't have to sacrifice like one or the other. Like they can both happen. Yeah.
I like that. And I feel like that's really good advice for anyone that is entering that season, such as myself. Because I think yeah, it can be a daunting thought when you're first entering that transition. It's like, how do I make all of this work at once? But you kind of
Yeah.
can't do everything perfect. You have to just pick
No,
your
you
battles.
can't. And these years of motherhood are so fleeting. Like,
They are
and yeah, it's all gonna happen, it's all gonna come. And you don't want to regret looking back and being like, damn, like why was I trying to do it all? Like, why was I trying to like climb to the top when that could have just been a later thing? And
I
then I
like
think
that.
Yeah, I think if you soften and you just lean into whatever's happening in the moment, you'll just set yourself on the path that you're supposed to be on. Like being forceful and trying to do something that doesn't feel right or is outside of your energy scope, like you you're just forcing yourself to be on a different path than what you're supposed to be on.
So
So
true.
it's just so nice to like constantly, like it takes practice. Like some days like you obviously want to swim against the grain or you want to get stuff done, or like you look around the house and you're like, I need to do this renovation, or I need to like buy this, or I need to make this amount of money, or you know what I mean? But
Mm.
it will all just get done. Like life is so long when you think about it, you know?
It is. And I like what you say about the fleeting thing because yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you're like maybe the fifth person or yeah, maybe even more person that everything's taken off for them in mat leave. What's
Yeah.
that about? It must just be like your truest self and you
Yeah,
have
it
the time
must
to
be.
think and connect, with that inner essence,
Yeah, they
maybe.
don't have time to overthink it. They're fully
Yeah,
relaxed. Everything like maybe that's what's reading really authentically and
you're
people
in
like find that
flow.
interesting, or you
Yeah.
just want to be at like a higher like energy frequency.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, but
Mm,
really funny because that just clicked for me. Like there's so many people where that happens and it's yeah, it must be hard because you want to do it all, but yeah.
yeah.
So in terms of like when you actually started posting on TikTok, did you just like what was the first video you did? And what like how did you get that started? I'm just interested.
Yeah, I did a wish list video and it was just stuff that I wanted. And because I think like I spend a lot of time like online shopping and finding like cool things. I think it was just nice for people to see like, oh, I've not seen that brand before, or oh, they're cool shoes. And so I did lots of wish lists, and then I started doing like vlogs. I went away for a baby moon and vlogged the whole thing. And I don't know, yeah, it just sort of like there is no consistent one video that I do, I don't think. Um, then I started doing like outfit checks. And it's funny that you said like my style like seems really cohesive and consistent, because like I feel like this my personal sense of style, like I haven't like gotten there yet, in the sense that like I can't afford my personal sense of style. So I'm like just making the
Same
best with what
doll.
I've got.
Yeah. Can any of
And
us?
then yeah, like that's where I'm trying to get to. Like you'll see it eventually, but for now it's just like what I've got. Like I'm just putting things together, but maybe it's yeah, it's just like